Alright, here we are, July 18th. Look at some trades that I took today, some charts that I didn't take trades on, but for starters, I just have to say that today was not a great trading day. I mean, I made a bunch of money, but got lucky. Was undisciplined, not great trading. Already seen some things in hindsight that could have been better. So here we are with AMD. What did I see on AMD? So I had these zones marked out by the time open came. But as I look back, I notice that this zone here was actually a pretty solid zone. But the thing is too, is this one here, sorry for the clutter, but we'll get this cleaned up here in just a moment. We see pre-market high up here, this zone from before, from, looks like, yesterday, there you go, the close of 2 days ago, had a nice level. Yesterday it dropped down, it rejected that level, and then hung out downward. Overnight, just kind of consolidated sideways. At open, we saw this spike, but I didn't have this zone here, nor this zone here. I just had this zone. And then this zone here, I'm actually going to move these out of the way, even though this top zone would have been a great one, as well as this zone here for the kind of broken retest. But let me just move those back real quick and show you what I saw today. Market open, well, right before open, a lot of stocks just had this spike, which sometimes when that happens, it's almost like a fake out, like, oh gosh, we're getting antsy, we want to get FOMO'd in, and then they trap longs. So got wicked down from the zone, wicked down under VWAP, massive bottoming wick. Something must have popped during that time at 9:45. Tapped the pre-market low, topping wick again. I think in here, because I saw this come down and then retest it with these wicks, I instantly thought short. So I got some puts here. The puts at the money at the time were like $30 a piece for the 0 DTEs. I mean, they were looking pretty good. So I took a handful of those throughout the day. I mean, got a little sketched out. Part of my poor trading today was pulling stop losses, which is never good. So I gotta maybe just be a little more patient still and not pull those, because it could have just went south today. It's just not good. So I got to be more disciplined in that. I can't take that lightly. So anyway, it hung on. I think on this drop here. Was it here? No, I think down into here. I took these a handful of these puts off the table for almost a 300% gainer. And then I think maybe, yeah, as it was coming down into this zone, they went in the money, the 50s, the 157.50s, took the final take profit off those as it hit in the money, which was good because it started to bottom out here. Obviously, would have decayed, gone a little bit more, but I'm glad I took them all out here into the zone. So it was a good decline. Consumer sentiment was a fake out at 10 o'clock. I think on the SPY and the Qs it popped up, but then wicked down, maybe like a liquidity grab or something. Could have played that one a little bit better, but it was a good setup with this rejection here. ARM, I was just hanging on to an ARM swing again, did nothing. It was just one put. Obviously got rejected here. As I look back, there wasn't a zone there. Maybe there was in the past. Not really loving ARM lately, so I just kind of left it as is, wondering if it would just kind of hold and hope down to where I needed it to get back to. Again, I said that yesterday in yesterday's video. Hood, I didn't trade Hood, but this is just such clean price action. Look at these zones. I said yesterday or the day before, I had the 108s. Obviously, you can see this clean price action pop, retest, up into this next level. Those 108s into the open would have been well in the money. They made it all the way up to 113, 40-ish. So that would have been cool, but I'm not going to hold it overnight. So at least not yet. Trying to just get the base hits down first and then see, letting maybe a con or two win overnight or hold overnight. But again, just good price action. This right here, I probably would not have taken this anyway because it was more just a momentum play. Ripped right out of the gate over pre-market on the 5. For it to chop and come down all the way to the pre-market high retest or even the VWAP retest, that just that maybe would have been something I would have taken, but obviously it didn't go long. I'm glad I didn't. This retest was a fake and then it just dropped the rest of the day, so I'm glad I didn't take that. IWM was in a zone from the last handful of days or week. Saw this, this obviously did similar to what the market did, had this break and retest of VWAP, came down out of the zone, broke pre-market low, came down into this zone and started to consolidate. And I think right in here is where I was considering going long, but would have just been a scalp. So it didn't even make it all the way back up to VWAP. I think I was considering an RSI convergence as well because we had that increase in the RSI, but we didn't quite have a new low yet at that point. And even here, if I would have taken this and consider this a higher low for the RSI, and we got a lower low there, tricky because it just consolidated for the rest of the day. It didn't even reclaim, so glad I didn't take that. NVIDIA, similar to AMD, I think this felt felt that pressure, okay, up into this zone, wicked. I mean, this was a good test of the previous day's high. Let's see here, going into right here. So it touched yesterday's high. That's what this kind of mint green line is. Rejected it, rejected this zone. Pre-market had a big wick, another wick. 10 o'clock rolled around, maybe saw some, no, didn't see anything here from the consumer sentiment. So I think SPY and Qs were the ones that really showed just a quick liquidity pop, but these obviously were consolidating over pre-market low, broke pre-market low finally, retested. This would have been a good pre-market low retest, break and retest downside play. But again, it came down into this zone, even surpassed it a little bit. Would have been a good short there as well. So here, I probably, if I would have traded it, I probably would have looked at this rejection here. Hate it in the first 5 minutes. Love it in the 10, but again, if I would have been looking at the RSI, that would have been tricky again. A lower low, but a higher low on the RSI, like right in here. That would have been not good. Palantir was almost a winner today. For Palantir, I love the price action on it lately. I just haven't been trading it well. This one, I was actually considering long because it's been so strong lately. I figured it was probably due for a pullback, just like other stocks that pulled back today. This had a nice support zone that I was considering. So it came down here, had a tweezer bottom here, as you can see on the 5. Tweezer bottom off this zone. Came back up above pre-market low. Was holding below VWAP though. Probably wasn't a good play necessarily. I think that it would have been better to not anticipate, but to react. This right here had what appeared to be just an uneven RSI, even though it hit a lower low there. But this candle here gave me some promise. Saw it started to do some of this. Looked like we could have reclaimed here. Oh, yeah, and then it finally came back here. This was a W off that zone. Was looking pretty promising, but nope, couldn't even make it back to high of day. So ended up going back down. So took a loss on that, and it wasn't a good one because I pulled my stop loss, which is stupid. That's probably the core of this video today and yesterday is I can't do that. I gotta just stick to my stop loss. I had one stop loss triggered early on in the trading day, I think on the Qs. I just need to accept it and move on, right? That's what every trader needs to do, is just don't think twice about the losses, right? Just hold on to those winners, but let those losers go. The Qs, I took a couple of puts here. Didn't even reach my zone. I just was not aware of my zones this morning for some reason. I don't know why. Just playing off a feeling. I think the market just felt like it needed a pullback. Yeah, it did pop into the zone in pre-market. I think maybe I should have waited for that there, but I didn't. I got, I guess, FOMO'd in because it already rejected in pre-market right before the open. Broke below VWAP, yesterday's high, pre-market low, below VWAP, down into the zone. So as it started to come down here, I took profits down into this. I think I maybe took one as it touched, and then I took the other one down in here. But again, not a great trade. I mean, you start to see the support coming in, and then maybe on Monday we see a bounce off that. We'll just have to see what Monday beholds, but some traders probably would have had a good, a break and a retest of VWAP and scalp here, but I'm just not that kind of trader, I guess. I'm not really looking for that, even though I'm kind of playing that in-between zone style today and a little bit yesterday. So maybe I just need to be more patient and look for my zones. SPY had a good, let me pull the zones up here. SPY had a good just break through the zone. I mean, it wasn't really what I was looking for. If I zoom out, it was kind of up in that pre-market high area. I guess it did reject, but I guess this break and retest here broke the zone, retested back into the zone, rejected off pre-market low and VWAP. That could have been a nice scalp there. But again, for some reason, when noon rolls around, I'm not really looking to wait that long, and that's probably just my impatience. But yeah, so some things to take away from Friday are, one of the taglines I hear traders say is no baggy Fridays. That's something that I need to get better at, because I could have easily bagged really bad today. Pulling stop losses is something I've had to just have talks with myself about multiple times. I don't know that it is something that, obviously, it's not something I've mastered. I have moments when it gets good and I'm doing it right, and I just accept it and I feel good because I'm thinking, man, I didn't lose a whole lot, so that's good. But the winners today ran 100, 200, almost 300% on AMD, the Qs. I mean, the winners are there, but I don't know if pulling my stop loss, if it's how much it's going against me before it finally reclaims. Do you think I'm just scared of missing the move? Like, I want to make money every day, but it's not always going to be the case. I need to just accept that. I need to accept that there are losing days, and I've been in this game for a long time, and yet for some reason still struggle. Obviously, it's a psychological thing, rooted in my past, rooted in feelings, rooted in maybe even a poverty mentality, but just something I got to get straight. So I'm doing these video reflections to hopefully help me get there, help me get to a good place of being patient, taking high quality A+ setups and entries, keeping my stop losses in, accepting losses, and just letting the winners run. All right, have a good weekend.